But while you're here, you got to make the most of it. And I think him and his W King style, it can work, but there's times where it doesn't. And I think that's probably why we're watching him rather than talking about how he made it through Heat 1.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it's give and take, right? Like these kind of play styles, this momentum style that he owns, he's literally a kind of player who plays off his mood, right? Like when he's in a good mood, he's feeling it, bro, he's gonna hit those shots, he's gonna delete players like we're watching right now. Like he's literally going to steamroll. As things get more and more intense though, mechanical skill sometimes is not enough. It's more game sense, it's more patience. And when you see him hit his tilting moments,
there's not many players who play it better than him, and you can see it here. Hops in the player's box, he has all for the edits, to criticize him a bit, they're a bit slower than usual. I think you definitely could have picked up that elimination a bit quicker, but still on the front foot here, looking to get the shots off. But it's a bit of a standoff right now.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy, like slow to us, and like our slow mongrels, like still ridiculously fast when you compare it to the norm, right? Like, and just look at that, just look at his actions per minute. Like this, he is.
There's nothing better than that, man, and I think he definitely has played such a significant role in competitive Fortnite in a way that he probably doesn't even understand. And I think I'd probably credit it down to him and Mitra in the sense that early on in the days of competitive Fortnite, right? If you look at NA, the players who were successful in NA were a lot of the time these more methodical players, right? Someone like a Bizzle, right? People were watching Bizzle streams, like, Cloaksy and Chap, etc. And so in general, right, the NAE scene off of that kind of,
that's a double-edged question, right? Because honestly, the reason EU is so, I guess, revered as one of the greatest regions is because they know how to fight. The reason NA is looked at as one of the, more methodical regions, and it's also regarded as one of the best regions because they know how to rotate, they know how to play Fortnite at the most interesting levels, they know how to use endgame, right? Like, and literally read the map so effectively. But it's two different types of Fortnite. They have more of an EU play style, which people love to watch, but then you can also just marvel in the greatness of a good rotator and like a godlike IGL that just knows how to perfectly get a team from one place to the other, right? So it is crazy how the two regions have these extreme differences, but also the practice is so different as well, because if you're a W keyer on NA East, like you're looked down upon, right? You're like pushed out of the comp ecosystem. Whereas if you're a type of person who's trying to build practice for EU, it's not existent. You're not going to get these stacked end games and stuff for prac because they're like, no, it's all about mechanical style. So it is one of those things we're struggling to try and find a balance to as well. Like, does EU need better game sense? Not really if you're getting carried mechanically. Does NA need more W keying? Not really if you can carry yourself through game sense too, right? So it's crazy how two thoughts of Fortnite can still be so successful.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you there. And I think it really begs a question of, like, in EU, right? Like there's you can almost say this like winning formula. What a shot. This is just ridiculous. He's going on a tear right now. And of course, this is that first game, right? So we can expect this and maybe it slows down, but maybe it doesn't. And for Mongrel, I doubt it does. I think he's just going to keep on going here. Probably is a bit frustrated that, he's even having to play Heat 2 in the first place. So I can expect him to keep on going. But in continuation of what you said, right? Like, there's almost like winning formulas, right? In EU, we've gone to the stage where, like, with certain players. Yeah, I know it's hard to even stay on track with conversation when he's going around.
Hey, I love it. I love it.
It's rough.
We're like talking Fortnite and watching the best gameplay at the same time.
Exactly.
The dream.
But it's like, with certain players on your team, you can you will have success in a sense, right? And I think in NA you have that, but to a lesser degree. Like in EU, like if you put certain players together, you can expect some certain level of success.
When you see them do it as solos too, especially, it kind of puts them in a different bracket. And Aqua just more so just has the history, right? Like he has the resume, man, like event after event, obviously dating as far back as you can really think. And he continues to do it, literally. And you can see that, like we said, it's not just game sense, or it's not just mechanical skill that is going to carry you to a dub at the end of the day. To win a championship, you need everything. And that's one thing that Mongrel, I feel like, is definitely still working toward. Right? He hasn't had a major under his belt yet. So it's kind of like Kinzel, right? Like Kinzel went a long time before the big major hit underneath the belt, and that was for Dreamhack too. So it just shows that, man, it takes time. It doesn't matter how good you are. A lot of times you still need everything to fall into place.
What do you think needs to fall into place for Mongar to kind of get that big major finally?
So I think, first of all, team-based game modes for sure, right? Like, because they could have had it when MMB was the thing. Like, they were the hottest trio coming into.
They should have had it.
They should have, right? But then all of a sudden, grand finals, things mix up, you get contested, all that kind of stuff. It really shakes up the way your performance is gonna hold out. So that's unfortunate. You hit a little bit of bad stroke of luck there, right? And then you move into the rest of the game modes. Like, he's not bad as a duo, like, honestly, right? Like, Mongraal paired with another smart player, that's where you want him. Someone that can keep up with him, but someone that can also rein him in. That's why I think, like, I'll compare this to NA East. I really think Bizzo and Clix have hit, like, this level of synergy between the two that is just so good. You give Clix the game sense and then the confidence to let him do his thing when he needs to, and he backs himself up mechanically. It's the same thing for Mongraal. You need to give him just the proper players that can complement him and give him the battery to just go in when he needs to go in, but at the same time, hold him back when it's time to, like, all right, slow down. It's rotate time. Stay in front of the zone. XYZ, right? And now that he's got his trio, like, I think they have a pretty well-balanced trio.
Yeah, I definitely do think they have I think it's almost like it's almost like MMB in the sense of Tayson is like a Benji when Benji was on MMB, because on MMB, right, you had Nitra and Mongraal, who are these, you know, hard fraggers, and then you have Benji kind of filling in everywhere else. And I think Tayson does that really well. Tayson's someone who he can fill in all the roles, you know, that you need someone to do in your team. But then I think I'd give Tayson the edge in terms of his game IQ compared to Benji at the time. And MMB, sorry, my voice is a bit gone there. But so I think they definitely do have a formula for success in that sense. Obviously, if we are talking about trios, I think, you know, we can probably talk for days about, you know, how difficult it's going to be, right? Because obviously they're on that Stark, there's contesting going on there and whatnot. And I do fear, right, if you're in solos and you're getting contested, you almost want to get contested in solos a lot of the time, right? You want to be able to deal with Surge early on in the game, so you don't have to worry about it during the mid game and whatnot. In trios, when you're getting contested, it becomes really difficult, you know, right? A 3v3 is harder to control than a 1v1. So, you know, in solos, it's very different, right? Mongraal probably wants people landing towards Stark, right? Maybe not an excess amount, but he definitely wants people to be landing there with him. Whereas in trios, I'm sure they'd rather have nobody there with them.
Yeah, definitely. It's such a difference. And I mean, you know, it goes back to the original school of thought in Fortnite, right? Like, when you have a draw spot to yourself, it's what you do with it. Some teams don't know how to have a draw spot to themselves, where others just thrive in those moments, and it's really about ending those battles really quickly. Like, Mongraal does that pretty well across all team-based game modes, and you see the ones that fall and crumble apart are the ones that actually get contested by, like, a decent team. A decent team in Fortnite is really hard to take out, like, a whole team. And even if you are better, like, you're just talking about eating into the clock. Like, that's what people don't understand, is like how much time you waste on the looting path and all that kind of stuff. Like, you need these fights to end quickly. As Mongraal just literally wraps up a 20+ bomb here, like, making it look so simple. Like, thank you, Mongraal, for making our jobs easy. Like, literally.
That was crazy. And the way that ends is, he has no mats there at the end. I think someone in chat said it right.
Yeah, definitely. And now he gets the zone favor here, so enemy up above, he's gonna look for some control here. Yeah, you don't want any of this being controlled by someone else, especially if you want to make that first rotate. And he's actually asking for a battle. Oh, this is a scary one. He's gonna have to tank some zone just to avoid the damage. It's not looking good for him. He's kind of panicking, honestly.
Yeah, I do like the idea behind what he tried to do there. He tried to go into the zone to take that fight, like to take the angle. Oh my goodness, what's happened there? Things turning around in a matter of a second. A player just lands into his box and he's picked up an limb as a result of it. Gonna use the shockwave to get out of trouble because there's more players knocking on that door, and he does so successfully. That was nice because he's now capped off on materials and still has an amazing, like, loadout to use.
Yeah, it was actually a misplay because he was opening the edit to hit the player in front on the box, and someone just landed on him. So that's actually it's not something that happens very often as the way it did there. But Punisher with the quick reaction is going to stay alive in this game. A little bit high on the shockwave, but it's going to work out. He's going to be able to reel it in and get right in front of that zone. Well played for him. And now it's just time to be textbook with it, right? Look back and fire shots, see what he can find here. He doesn't cover his top, though. Has to be careful with high ground. It just gets beamed. Yeah, there it is. The one little misplay there, and all of a sudden now, look, he's got to pause to heal in full here. I don't even think he's safe right now, and if he is, he's barely in by a pick sword too.
Yeah, I would have liked to see him be a bit more, you know, kind of abrasive in his technique there. I think in that situation, he bounces in, he gets a very good view of the zone, right? And there's only one person on high ground really putting in a fight for it. I would have liked to see him maybe land that front side on a high elevation, really make that guy on high ground work for it, right? He's got floppers to work with, he's got that fair amount of minis left, but he kind of took the more, passive play, which I guess in a more stats lobby, is more effective. But in a lobby with way less players, I would have liked to see him make a bit of a more aggressive play. And it does kind of cost him playing too safe. Like, I feel like that does happen where, sometimes a player, like, understanding as a top player how to play in different lobbies is like really important. And I think you don't want to psych yourself up, right? Like, in a way, he almost played it too safe. Like, he almost played it like he's in a 50-man endgame when he's in like a 10-man endgame, right? And that can kind of like, that like tunnel vision in a sense can affect you. And I think it did there. Obviously, it doesn't mean that's the end of the game for him. He's still in a really good position to get a lot of endgame points and maybe even win things if, he gets a bit of fortune, but I doubt he wins this game now. I think now it's just going to be a very high placement game. Obviously, he's already in that top 5. Maybe
I think he can still do it. Yeah, I was going to say, the shockwave, takes him off a height. It's actually going to work here. I think he sent that guy flying, by the way. Look at that. Yes, high ground is free. It's his now. Whoa.
That guy fell. I think I saw the warning. That guy was eliminated.
Oh,
no. Taken out. Yeah.
You can see, look, he catches a couple tags, but he's losing these, like even all the shield risks and whatnot. So a little bit more of a risk though to jump down and take this fight closer. He's trying to get this. Can he do it?
He needs to be careful. He doesn't need that high ground. Looking to pick up that shot. That player goes down to the zone. He's going to get the elimination as a result of it. And now in the tree, okay, he's able to connect and get the mats from it, right? Do a little bit of farming. Not many players left in this game. He's going to look to, like you said, squeeze out as many more eliminations from this as possible. And this is comfortable. This is where, as a pro player, you've got to learn how to close out games like this. There is no, room for error. You cannot mess this one up. Going to run over to collect as many more materials to just kind of maintain this dominant position he has. Needs to be careful though. Shockwave player just kind of comes out of nowhere, flies across his face, looking to pick up another elimination, and in beautiful fashion, takes that player down. And yeah, this is pretty textbook stuff at this point, Monster.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, but there's still a lurker, right? There's like 2 enemies nearby. He saw one. He hasn't saw the last. That could be him. There it is. Okay. So now he knows exactly what these last 2 players out. He has to be careful not to jump down. Yeah, this angle here for the pressure from the outside in is beautiful. He's literally forcing the 2 into them, and there it is. They do hit one another. This guy doesn't have any mats. Yes, textbook.
And if I'm not mistaken, I'm not. Arian is still on top, 476 points. But see a Link now jumping from 5th or 4th place to
who's in
2nd
9th?
place. Who's in 9th? Mongrel!
No way.
Whoa, making a comeback, man. He was barely qualifying halfway through the show.